Groan, moan, complain, wonder why does WWE seemingly hate the Wyatt family? Well, rest assure you, I have good news about that. Even Bray Wyatt agrees that. Like, he appeared on Sam Roberts' wrestling podcast, and Bray Wyatt was asked, "What do the fans think about how you're not being booked properly?" And even Bray Wyatt says, "Yeah, I don't think they're really booking us right either." And this is what he said in the quote. "I don't think so. When we set out and finally got the call up, I don't know if they really understood what they had. Like, we knew the NXT crowd had responded so well to us, and they kind of like attached themselves to us. And when we came up here, we, never in a million years, thought it was going to explode the way it did. And it did. It exploded. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was just that kind of thing. The right place at the right time. And we were so different, man. We were so different that I don't think the company even knew how to use us. What are those things? Like, we were so different, and in the promos, and so different in a way we looked and how we moved. We were big and we would fly and do all this crazy stuff. Like, I don't think anyone expected us to be so complete, and they still don't know how to use what we are. That is sad, because if the competitor is saying, "Yeah, I don't know how they book us. I don't think they know how to book us," then that should say several things. One, it seems Bray Wyatt no longer has the control over his character that he used to have when he wrote his own promos. Two, it shows the oppression of WWE creative and how they like to restrict and oppress all their talent from being themselves. And three, the only people that knew, or at least know, how Bray Wyatt's character works is Dusty Rhodes, and he passed away. Triple H, except he may have a lot of say, but he doesn't have control over wrestlers' futures and booking on the main roster, except for NXT. And the other person is, well, Bray Wyatt himself, and he's being restricted to talk. So, like, everyone has compared Bray Wyatt to that of a younger Undertaker back when he was young, and when he was this big imposing force, and he was undefeated for an entire year. That should really say something. Like, Bray Wyatt probably should have went undefeated for a bit, and then afterwards finally started losing some matches, and then started rebounding from all that. Um, the Wyatt family's been on this massive decline since they got back together. Like, okay, I'm going to continuously say it. I feel like the Roman Reigns feud was the only feud that Bray Wyatt did not suffer damage from, because they had back and forth wins, they had equal standing, and they came out both looking great. It's just that all the other feuds besides Dean Ambrose and the Dudley Boys, they they just said fuck it. And now the Wyatt family are supposedly turning face after what happened on the Raw after Mania this year, where the Wyatt family attacked the now three members of the League of Nations because they had no respect for Barrett and because Luke Harper got injured. So they had to say, well, we have to get rid of this guy, cut him out. So that happened. So, like, I have been pissed off at the booking of the Wyatt family ever since this year started. Like, let's see, Bray Wyatt carried a feud with The Undertaker by himself, loses, goes to have a feud with Ryback, wins it, but then ultimately loses it since Ryback would win the Intercontinental title a month later and Bray Wyatt would remain doing nothing after that. So basically, he lost. Then he kind of went in limbo for a bit because WWE reportedly said, "We got nothing for him." And then they had something with Roman Reigns, and it lasted for 5 months. And that feud was much better than I had hoped. Like, it dragged at times, but I felt like it did more helpful benefits for Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns than it did damaging them, since they like had it equal balanced out. Like, this side gets some wins, this side gets some wins. Therefore, they don't come off looking like losers on each end. So there's that. And then there's the feud with The Undertaker again, this time with his brother Kane. Booked horribly, as I said in my Survivor Series video. Wyatt, and it was the worst match of the night. I can't believe I have to say that for an Undertaker match nowadays. Then he feuded with the Dudley Boys and ECW, and that didn't really do anything. Then they got this big feud with Brock Lesnar going, and it looks like it's going to turn hot, and then Roadblock came, and it was the worst match of the night because Luke Harper it was changed to a handicap match, and you all remember me being pissed off about it in my Roadblock video. I didn't know until a day later after that video was that Bray Wyatt was dealing with a back injury. So then I was like, ooh, okay, that's actually a good point. But like, why advertise this big match? Like, like when I heard the back injury, I was questioning. Wait, how long has he had this back injury for? Because he wrestled on against Dean Ambrose and he took some big spots. So wait, how long has he had this back injury, and how serious is it if he's allowed to wrestle a match with Dean Ambrose and take some pretty big bumps at times? Okay, and then Bray Wyatt teased a feud with Triple H, which was awesome. And I would be all for that, as I explained in a previous video about Bray Wyatt eventual face turn, which I said should only be working for against the Authority, and all that. And like, everyone looks at Bray Wyatt group as like the next version of the Ministry of Darkness. And I know for a fact they're not going to do what the Ministry did, since they are now, well, politically correct nowadays, where the Ministry would crucify people. Bray Wyatt can't do that. Like, he kind of crucified The Undertaker by carrying him out the way they did, but I'm pretty sure WWE caught on and then like, oh, we gotta change that. Do that different with Kane. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they caught on to that. And well, that was pretty much it for that. And then WrestleMania came. I was pissed off because they're not booked on the show. They're not booked. They're not wrestling a match, and they're not even in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. When The Rock came out, it was boring. It was blah blah blah. To me, it was like, oh, it's him setting the record, even though it turns out that he might have lied about that, saying it was not really 100,000, it was less than 97,000. If anyone did not know that, then yeah, it's actually true that there was a report breaking out that WWE may have lied to themselves and to the fans, saying, oh, we broke a record, when really they may have not. So, and then when the Wyatt family came out, I was both excited to see how this goes, yet at the same time I was dreading it because, oh no, please don't tell me they're going to bury the Wyatt family even further. Yep, they buried the Wyatt family even further. This is why I don't have high expectations anymore with matches and with angles now, because it's always going to be screwed over. Someone's going to get screwed over. Someone's going to get oppressed. Someone's going to be knocked down a peg because they can't have this guy getting liked. They need to bury this guy. It's almost WCW level of incompetence right now. Like, oh, they have one plan going and then they scrap it and then, oh, let's do this then. Get a match ready. We have a match to get ready. It's just becoming chaotic for me a lot. Like, it reminds me so much of WCW when it was in its declining period and eventual collapse. Like, even some people have said, this situation is so bad. WCW 2000 was better product than WWE right now. And I was like, okay, that's a little too far. Like, no one should ever go through what happened in WCW 2000. Unless they do something that's stupid, something very stupid like that, then yeah, then you can make the argument. But right now, there's not really much of a legitimate claim to that. And like, other than this incompetent booking of the Wyatt family, they're not really doing like Viagra's on a pole or pinatas on a pole or overly complicated matches that make no sense, or and like they still have the illogical booking and an incompetent senile old man running the company. So yeah, there's that. Well, everyone, this is Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.